It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join Carl and frequent co-host Hollis Lewis as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real
Welcome,
results.
Ladies and gentlemen, to Let's Talk with Carl Lee and
Let the conversation begin.
I have my two co-hosts in the building tonight, Lisa Odie and Hollis Lewis.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
And ladies and gentlemen, we were literally talking right prior to the show about even what we are going to talk about because there is so much out there. But let me make sure I give my sponsor, Frank Walker, a shout out. And you can, and let me do this. I'm so excited about the show because I'm trying to figure out where it's going to go and all of those kind of things. So bear with me. You can catch Let's Talk every Monday at 1 p.m. or Sunday at 1 p.m. and Thursday at 7 p.m. on 580 WCHS. If you want to watch any of the other episodes, you can visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk. You can follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk with Carl Lee for any of the updates. And I want to make sure, Hollis, you are our legal expert, and I want you to kind of lead us off in what you think on the Marshall side of things. Because you said something prior to the show that was like shocking to me, and I don't think anybody has thought of this. So kind of throw us this legal piece and what could happen to Marshall by not playing this bowl game.
Okay, well, I think Lisa, she had that part of it.
Oh, Lisa had it. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. So basically, I came across some information in a group for the Sun Belt Conference, and it's basically the American Athletic Conference Commissioner, Tim Pernetti. He came out with a statement that, because Marshall, well, let me back up. The reason he is so interested in what's happening with Marshall and their decline of the bowl game, the Independence Bowl game bid, is because Army this year has become a member of the American Athletic Conference in football only. So basically he came out and he feels like that Marshall should be held accountable for what happened as far as declining accepting the bowl bid and then backing out. He feels like that they should be punished in some way, whether that's financial or, I don't know what he means by that, but basically he feels like that legislation should be in place that requires programs that accept an invitation to any type of bowl or any type of or a bowl basically after football season, and they commit to it and then back out, that they should be subject to consequences for the impact it has on their opponent. So basically he's saying that, there should be some kind of ramifications for Marshall backing out of the Independence Bowl.
But I'm Hollis, and I want you to kind of give us a little bit of a legal piece to this. When I look at this and even hear that, Marshall doesn't have any really control on that. I think when you start talking about college football and what's happening, those losing 25 or more players that are scholarship players, how are you going to go to a bowl game? How are you legitimately going to put on a football team on the field that is even respectable of a team that has won a championship or won a conference? How are you even going to do that?
And I think that's the part he's missing, is that Marshall itself did not back out of the bowl. They are physically unable to perform because they don't have the players
difference.
to
Right. That is a difference.
compete in the bowl game. So it's not the university. It's not like they accepted a bit, got a better one, then say, hey, we want to not accept this. The problem is that problem with that statement, which I don't necessarily disagree in totality, but the problem is you can't have that and then at the same time have coaches leaving and have the transfer portal all happening, conversion at one point. Because to your point, this is not going to be the last time this happens. And even if it's not your team in totality, what happens if your best 5-10 players don't play in the bowl game? Then what do you do, right? So these sort of things are going to continue to happen as long as the timing of coaches being hired away to new schools and the transfer portal being is what it is at the exact, basically in December. So this is going to be the result of it. So I think what he needs to probably focus on is figuring out a solution to the transfer portal, coaching, hiring, and I'm just not trying to come up with new solutions to those problems in itself, but working on the timing of those situations.
So you think if the timing is different, then you'd be okay with basically all that's transpired?
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, again, I'm not necessarily, I don't like the way, I think there's a lot of work that can be done on the transfer portal, paying players NIL. I think we have to tighten some of those screws up. But I think the biggest problem is just the timing of it, right? Because, because if I'm a player at the end of my semester in December, then I'm transferred, then I'm entering the transfer portal, then I have basically about a month because school starts for most schools at the top or mid of January. So I have a month to figure that out. And again, if you're a coach like Coach Huff, you almost have no choice but to leave is at the timing that he did, because now he has to recruit probably some of those Marshall guys, right? He has to recruit the Southern Miss locker room. He has to recruit the transfer portal, and he still probably has to find some high school kids to start recruiting there. And he has to hire a coaching staff, and he has to find a place to live for him and his family. So he got all this stuff to do basically in 30 days. So how you gonna manage that?
One of the things that I think parents, high school parents, need to hear was a piece of that you said. High school recruitment is a dying thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because now with the idea of transfers, the idea of junior college players, unless you're that special athlete, who wants to have to worry about you maybe taking a couple years to get ready when I can go find a JUCO player or I can get a kid to transfer?
And I think that's particularly pertinent as far as when you're looking at the mid-majors, the D2s.
Especially for them.
Yes. Especially for them, because they need guys immediately that can come in, plug and play. Again, if you're an elite high school athlete, then that's probably not your concern. But if you're not, if you're kind of a mid-tier guy, you may be, finding it difficult to find a spot for yourself.
I'm going to make the case, too. I'm going to challenge that a little bit and say, I don't care who you are, unless you are legitimately a guy that can walk in and play. I'm not really interested in you unless I end up leaving. I've got a scholarship or two that's left over. Okay, now I'm going to go try to look and see if I can find me a high school guy. But I don't think that that's going to work. I think college sports are going to go JUCO and transfer totally.
I mean, I I'm saying argue. I can't really argue.
I'm not arguing with that at all. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And to go back to what we originally talked about with Pernetti and the American Athletic Conference and what his statements were, I like your solution way better, Hollis, about changing, some of the standards for when the portal opens and allowing these teams to be able to stay together and fulfill what they are,
100%.
Fulfill what they're supposed to be doing for their football team. Instead, his answer is Pernetti's answer to it is, instead of addressing the elephant in the room, his statement is, well, then those schools shouldn't accept bowl bids if there's a question that they will not have enough players to field a team, or whatever the reason might be, they just shouldn't accept bowl bids. Well, to me, that is that's pretty ludicrous, because we don't have a magic 8 ball. They can't see in the future that 40 or 25 players are going to be leaving. They can suspect it and hope for the best, but it's not confirmed. And they want to accept those bowl bids. They want their team to be able to go and be a part of that scenario and make the money for their school. They didn't want to back out. That's not something that they envisioned, I'm sure.
And to that point, I think he's totally off of like trying to punish schools. I think that's ridiculous.
Yes.
But I think what needs to happen, and I think my solution to this, if everything's equal, we're going to keep it the same. We need to start football season earlier. So football season needs to start end of July, top of August.
Hey, it is Ryan Seacrest. There's something so thrilling about playing Chumba Casino. Maybe it's the simple reminder that with a little luck, anything is possible. ChumbaCasino.com has hundreds of social casino-style games to choose from with new game releases each week. Play for free anytime, anywhere, for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like getting right out of bed late for work, yet your hair looks immaculate. No blow dryer, no comb, no sculpting gel. Just a flawless look. As if you walked out of your house and straight onto the cover of a men's fashion magazine.
Good morning, Steven. Oh, have you done something new with your hair? It looks amazing.
They don't have the slightest clue you were half asleep drooling on your pillow not 10 minutes ago. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
And it needs to end of November. So that way, end of November, all the bowl games, playoffs, everything's done end of November. Maybe even playing 1 or 2 less games. So that way, by the top of December, you have your transfer portal open. You can hire coaches, and we can deal, and everybody can go into school at the top or mid of January. So we need to actually, to me, we need to start football earlier and end earlier. We got to push the schedule up.
Let me ask you this question, and this may be really a super dumb kind of question here, but why wouldn't it be okay? So you got bowl game. You got all these names of these sponsored bowl games. Why wouldn't the bowl game and the advertisement all become the championship game of the conference? So the teams who win their conference, they win,
that's their bowl game.
That's your bowl game. Instead of trying to play through a regular season, play your championship game, and then now you're going out to play a bowl game that.
Well, really, I think you know the answer to that.
Well, it's money.
Yeah, I mean, come on, we got it. That's part of the revenue stream, right? But
does at this point, I think it's evident that it's like bowl games are not a big deal.
They're not relevant.
And now you're getting like 500 teams, a team that's 500 playing in the bowl game. And then you got players who are thinking about going to the pros or hoping to go to the pros, not even playing. So now you don't have your best players.
Yeah.
And it ain't.
That's actually not a bad idea. I think what you're saying is like if you make your conference championship, that just becomes a bowl.
That becomes a bowl.
Yeah, but again, I think the problem.
Not every conference has a championship, so that would have to change.
I think most of them do now.
Yeah,
most of them. But the problem with that is like the 5-5 team, they need that money too, and they ain't gonna get that money.
But where we're going, now like I know, this is not going to get any better. This is going to just get because. Just think,
this will happen over and over. There'll be Marshalls everywhere.
Absolutely.
This is just the beginning.
Marshall's just the first team that this has happened to. But imagine another team with even a more notable name coach, and he leaves. And they just won, let's say they won a championship, they won their conference, they did all this and that, and he's leaving to go to a better job. Are you staying behind? No, you're thinking
maybe not.
No, I don't even think it's maybe not. I'm not staying. I'm going because I don't know who you're bringing in, and we can see locally here. Does it even matter who you bring in?
What was the guy's name? What was his name? Pernetti, you said.
I'd have to look at. Let me look real quick.
Okay, well, the guy from the who made the statement about punishing the schools, I see a situation in which a coach doesn't leave. The coach is there, but what happens is that they're going to this bowl game, and then maybe you have your 5-6 best offensive players decide, hey, I'm not going to play because I'm going to the pros or whatever. Or I just don't want to play. It's not worth it. And then you have your 5 or 6 best defensive guys not wanting to play. And then the coach is looking around and say, hey, I don't have basically my top guys here.
Right.
So let's just not even do this. It's not worth me doing this. So let's just go ahead and stop here and prepare for next season. I see a situation like that, which would, for the gentleman, the official from the ACC, comments can probably be pertinent at that point. Mm-hmm. So I see a situation like that happening in the future, in addition to
Tim Pernetti.
Mm-hmm. So I see a situation like that happening, which Tim Pernetti's idea would probably be right. And then there would be situations like Marshall as well. So it's like you said, it's just going to get worse.
If you're a school, are you going to be okay? I mean, do you want this? So let's say if you're a bowl team, do you want this to happen? I'm going to say no. But if I'm not a bowl team, but thinking maybe one day I can get there, I'm supporting that. Is there a divide? Do you think there's a huge divide?
Nah, because the bowls don't mean anything other than what you're going to just the revenue is going to generate for your school. Like I said, West Virginia played last night on a Tuesday without their best players, and it's just it means nothing.
But in a way, it does mean something, especially for a team like Marshall. That was one of the best bowl bids, the Independence Bowl, that they've had in recent memory.
True.
And now that we've got the playoff and the championship system that we have in place, these non-Power 5 schools, I mean, we're left to get the crumbs, so to speak, to eat the crumbs, and so we have to take what we get and appreciate it. And it was disappointing. I think a lot of fans are disappointed, even though we knew the team would not be exactly the same team that played in the Sun Belt Championship, really not even close. But still, we were going to field a team and we were going to a bowl game. And that's, in reality, some of the best that we're going to get as Thundering Herd fans is going to a bowl like that.
I have a group of former players that we text every morning. And it was interesting to me to hear these guys talk about, like, how does this happen? Like, how do you, because it's like,
right.
Even
it was
guys
shocking.
Who played, it was like, we're not playing in, we have an opportunity to be playing in the bowl.
And we aren't.
And we're not. We're now, because we don't have enough players, or we don't have the quality of players, because what? Because the coach left and because the players left. And now we can't go to the bowl?
Because they don't care about it. Nobody cares about them. Them players do not care about them bowls. They don't care about the trinkets. They don't care.
But the fans do.
Yeah, but the players don't. And like I said, I think you just need to make a separate playoff. I think you need to have a non-Power 5 playoff, like
when you say players,
playoff. Oh, sorry.
When you say players, don't care.
Yeah.
And you say coaches don't care. Let me try to define that a little bit down to something. I'm going to think that the head coach doesn't matter to not all head coaches, but some head coaches do not care because they're getting,
depends on their incentive clauses.
Yes, and they're getting they're getting recruited by another team, which is only going to be more money, which is great for them. They don't care. So now all this, and then the players, and then your top players. Because you can't tell me that a backup did not want to play in that bowl game.
Well, they were playing a storied team. I mean, I would think those players would have been interested in trying to go out and defeat Army. I mean,
Army had a good season too.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I mean. So it depends on your opponent as well, whether or not they care about the ball.
I'm wanting to play, man.
But you don't care because you took a job before the bowl game knowing that part of you taking that job was like, I'm not going to coach the bowl game. And you enter the transfer portal knowing that me entering this, me being recruited again, means that I'm not going to play in this bowl game. You don't care about the game. The game's not
if you've
important.
entered I can see what you're saying.
It's not important to you. I'm not
if
saying.
You've entered the portal.
And let me clarify. I'm not saying you wouldn't like to play in it. I'm not saying it's maybe something you wasn't looking forward to, but it was obviously something more important than that game. So again, I think we have to find. And I'm not saying the players are cavalier and they just don't care about playing. I'm saying due to the timing of everything, you have to make a decision. And obviously they made a decision to leave as opposed to playing the game. So I'm saying we have to either create a new system where we're creating something that's more meaningful, or we have to work on the timing and making sure that everything is done top of December. Football should be done top of December.
I'm starting to think, because I'm trying to think. I know for a fact that if I was in this generation,
you'd be in the transfer portal.
I would be in the transfer portal
100%.
because I know what it's about. It's about the money. And it's all that. But when I go back and think about it and say, would I have left? Because there were tons of guys who left Marshall because we were losing and all that kind of stuff. Whether they went and played ball somewhere else, well, it didn't even matter. They might even just gave up football just because we were losing, and they're going to transfer, go somewhere, and just be a student. Okay,
right.
I would have never thought. I would have never thought about leaving, no matter what the wins and losses were. I was playing, and I was going to play hard for Marshall. And now,
this ain't that time.
I know.
So you can't compare that.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to figure out, like, when did the reality of nothing matters but me take over?
This is
college
what they
football.
made.
The NCAA created this.
The NCAA created this 100%. 100%.
The players are just taking advantage of the system they've been given. I mean, you can't blame I don't blame the players.
No, I'm not even trying. Yeah, I'm not even trying to.
NCAA.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Needs to fix this. They need to regulate it, do something, maybe even make the players sit out a year. I don't know. That might be too severe, but they need to fix this.
It wasn't severe back in the day.
But basically, and again, the players weren't asking for NIL.
No.
They were not asking for this. The players were saying, hey, if you're going to be at the podium after the game with your soft drink in hand, which is paying you to do that, coach, can I get a piece of that? If you're going to sell my jersey in the bookstore, can I just get a piece of that? The players, if it's 2010, you could have literally played players maybe anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 a month.
And they would have been happy.
And they would have been happy, and again, they probably would have been asking for a little bit more, but they wouldn't have been asking for this.
It's unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. The NCAA screwed all this up, just like our NCAA here in West Virginia. They screwed it up. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like you wait so long to do something that you should have done 20, 30, 40 years ago. Now at this time, it's a free-for-all. So it's like, it's up to them to fix it now. So they have to go back and fix this.
And even if they regulate it, here's a thought that just crossed my mind. But even if they fix it or regulate it, it's the smaller schools are still going to suffer. There's no way ever. I'm sorry. There's no way that the smaller schools can come up with the NIL money that these SEC schools can come up with, or the bigger conferences, the Big Ten. There's just not enough resources. And so we're going to be in that continuous cycle of bringing in those players that they overlook, the big guys overlook at first, but they're talented players. They just somehow they don't click with those teams. We cultivate them. We develop them as players. We come up with a good team. We put together a good team that wins some conference championships. And what's going to happen every single time?
Yeah.
They're going to deplete the team, and we're going to start all over. It's a continuous cycle. The bigger schools are going to continue to grab those smaller schools, the players
coaches.
You're right, coaches as well. The ones that produce and do well at these small schools, there'll never be any continuity. like we had back in the 90s with our Marshall teams.
That's
100%.
That is really a good point, because everybody talks about continuity, whether it be through
ain't no continuity.
through the coaching staff, from the coaching staff down to the players, from players to player. If you don't have that, you don't even have a team.
Yeah.
So how now do I transfer? So I transfer from Marshall to Furman just because they're going to give me some money, and I'm going to probably be guaranteed to play. But I don't even know how these were the guys I didn't even like a year ago, but now I'm coming because strictly of the money.
Right.
And are they going to be okay with me?
Yeah, they will.
I mean, because it's not like it's
Especially
like
if you're good. You're talented.
I don't know if it's just like you just automatic like every player that's going to come in. You know how a team is.
Probably not.
Now you're going to have a guy that's going to be, and I'm going to make the case, when you bring in that top guy, that high dollar player, he's coming in with all the expectations of, I'm going to start. I'm getting the most money.
It's probably part of his NIL deal, isn't it? A lot of these players have so many starting.
Absolutely. But I'm not coming. Well, the question is, would I come for the money even if I'm not guaranteed to start?
100%.
I'm coming.
Yeah. But the thing is, with how teams can get cliquey, right? It's a group of those guys coming into these teams now. It's not like it's one dude coming in. So it's like 5 or 10 guys coming in at a time.
So we buddying up.
Yeah, so we all buddying up because y'all all came from, the portal. So everybody may not be getting paid the same, right? But y'all with transfers coming in. So it's like now, kids they're just used to it now. So you're used to playing with new guys every year. So like I said, I think that's just the way it's going to be until it's fixed.
So as much as I hate to even bring this up as part of this, so what if we start doing this in high school football in West Virginia?
What do you mean?
What you with money and all of that.
NIL.
It's coming.
And
I think it's already happening in some states, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. There's
it's
some
already
places,
started.
yes. Yeah. And there's been talk about it trying to get it here.
But I think that's more like you can like seek endorsements. I don't think the money's coming from like the boosters in those other states.
But either way, how many teams, like, where are you going to go? Like right now, if you're saying I can go anywhere I want, or I'm the best player on my team, who's coming after me, right? It's going to be a team up north. The best teams are going to get the best guys. They're going to keep getting the best guys.
And here we go.
And here we go. And there's a huge separation that you create there.
And it just
unless you got somebody with deep pockets who's an alumni of some of the lower schools.
And that's the sad part. Yeah. That's the sad part.
Well, let me just say this outright. I'm not giving the school the money. I'm not giving them any money to pay a high school athlete, college athlete. I'm not doing it.
I will. I did.
I'm not doing it.
I'm supporting. Like I said, if I have the money, if I have the resources, and I did, right? I donated money and went to the NIL collective. So that's my school. That's the game we playing. So why not? I want to see my school win. It's not like I can do anything else to help them win.
I'm just too old. It took me to get to the pros to get $1.
But it's like you were donating the money to somebody's scholarship. Why not donate money to help them be better?
They already got scholarship. That
ain't it. That ain't enough. So I'm saying
make it to the pros and get there.
If you had,
I agree.
20, if you had 20,
make it
30,
to the pros.
What I'm saying is you had $20,000-$30,000 lying around. You're not going to donate that to help you.
No, I got a grandson. If I'm gonna donate, I'm gonna donate to him.
Well, isn't there a difference between donating to the school and donating to players individually, right? Because if you would donate $20,000 or $30,000 to the school would, kind of apply that to the facilities, to, just making the facilities better, not paying an individual player.
You can earmark it to their collective. So,
but then that's going to involve parents because you've got most of your high school kids are under the age of 18, right?
Yeah. I'm talking about college. I'm not talking about high school.
I thought we were still talking about
my bad. No, you good. Yeah.
So, no, because now I'm asking, what do we do? What if we do if it shows up in high school?
But I think the structure of high school is different. I don't think it's going to the boosters and the boosters is paying the kid directly. I think, it's that kid has the ability to sell items or sell his image. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like college.
So you're saying if a store, if I'm a big enough high school athlete,
if Gatorade wanted to pay you money to do a commercial, you could do it.
Okay.
As opposed to college, a lot of the money's coming directly or indirectly through the school.
Do we have that athlete? I mean, because you're talking about a Robert Alexander, you're talking about a Kurt Warner, you're talking about a Randy Moss, you're talking about somebody, a high school athlete that is phenomenal. And we don't those guys don't come every year.
Yeah, we may not have them this year, but it'll be one out there. It'll be some kid out there who's because the thing about it is it's not necessarily what you're always doing on the field. It could be a kid out there who's a decent ball player, but he's great on social media. He got hundreds of thousands. You had the guy M at South Charleston, right?
Yeah.
He played football. He has millions of followers on social media.
Yeah.
He would be the perfect example of that. You know what I mean? He's probably okay on the field. On social media, he's going crazy. So,
but you don't. But again, you don't even need to pay him because he's making it off the social
Maybe
media
so,
site.
but why not pay him if somebody wanted to pay him and
to keep him in your school to promote
football? Yeah, why not?
I don't know, man.
So I think that's where it's coming in at.
I think it's bad enough it's at the collegiate level, and if we go that route in high school, I don't know. It's scary. It's scary to me, but
I think we really ruin teamwork, and the bond that I think that comes with high school and collegiate sports. I'm chasing money. I'm not. I don't even care to leave. A group of guys that I played 2 years, 3 years with. I'm going to leave as a senior. I'm going to go play somewhere else because I'm going to get some money. I'm going to leave these guys, and I'm going to go try to fit in for one season at a school that, I didn't even like that I played against, but now they're knocking on my door. What am I going to do? I got to go.
Yeah. And just to remember, whatever everyone always has said, there is no I in team. And football is team oriented. And we're moving away from the teamwork part of it and individualizing it. We're glorifying the individual players rather than the schools and the teams, which is the way that it was when we were coming through.
And what's scary to that valid point is
ET is Ryan Seacrest here. People always say it's good to unwind, but that's easier said than done. The exception, Chumba Casino. They actually make it easier done than said, or at least the same. Chumba Casino is an online social casino with hundreds of casino-style games like slots and blackjack. Play for fun. Play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Sign up now and collect your free welcome bonus at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hollis is like, okay, so let's say I'm playing at South Charleston, and I'm good. Or at least let me make the case. I think I'm good. I've scored some touchdowns. I've got some interceptions. I've done some of this, and I want some NIL money. And if I don't get it, maybe somebody else is going to offer it to me. But I might be the only key player that we have. I don't even care about that. I don't care about you. Let's say I'm your receiver and I'm the only guy you can throw the ball to. I ain't thinking about you. To me, there are guys that you bond with on the team, and I know that what kills me is that is gone. I can remember playing in the pros. I can remember playing at Marshall, losing and dealing with guys, knowing that we're losing, knowing that we're going into a game losing, but bonding together, saying man, look, let's go play as hard as we can play. Let's go out and try to get this W, knowing that we're probably not going to get it.
It ain't no I in team. It ain't no I in bond, but it's an I in win. And the definition and the definition.
Hollis was waiting.
Yeah, the definition of what a win is to these kids is different than what a win was to us. And if you're a senior at Marshall and you've done all the things and you got glory, you helped the team, you built bonds, and Marshall can only afford to pay you $25,000, $30,000 a year. You're really good, and then Ohio University or Miami, Ohio, or whoever, Southern Miss, can say, hey, for this 1 year you got left, I'm gonna give you $150,000. You going to get that $150,000? I'm going. So the definition of what a win was back in the day is different than what a win is now.
And you know what's bad? What I think is bad about that is the adults in the room and those who supposedly should be protecting and making the game better. This is their fault. This is all their fault. They created this mess. Yeah. And all that you taught me about teamwork and all that kind of stuff, you have now put a product out there that makes me say, I don't have to worry about you or Lisa. All I'm worried about is just me.
Because they were greedy initially, the NCAA, coaches, athletic departments, administrations. They were all greedy. They wanted everything for themselves. When all they had to do was just sprinkle a little crumbs to these players and everything would have been consistent to how it was back then. But now the cat's out the bag and everybody wants their piece.
But I think what you said earlier, I think if we'd have started there of
give them a couple thousand.
If you're a senior, you get X number.
Yeah.
Okay? If you are a junior, you get X number. Sophomore, freshman, you get whatever comes in. That's the pay scale. Okay? And that could be 10,000 down to 2,000. Okay?
And that's all they were asking.
And I think everything would have been fine. All right, we got Hollis has got to go. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com. Comment on episodes, ask Carl and Hollis questions, or suggest topics at our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Find previous episodes of Let's Talk at WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk. This is Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now, back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had just a crazy quick second there with Hollis exiting. And what that shows is we kind of get into conversations, and if you were supposed to be leaving at a certain time, you may forget it. So he forgot it.
He looked like his old collegiate days on the field, didn't he?
Yes, he was actually quite mobile. Let's Talk is presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. You can visit Frank Walker at FrankWalkerLaw.com for more information. So, Lisa, talk to me.
Yes.
So, help me. I just want to go back just a second, and then you can jump into your into your notes.
Sure.
I don't know if you can have a team sport, right? Mm-hmm. I don't care what it is. How do you create an individualized system for me to get to? I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best player so I can get them. Maybe just because I want to get the money.
Yeah, sure.
And so maybe you think you're just as good as me, and now we have this issue between us. Is there any way to prevent that? Or is that going to happen? Do we care? Do these kids care who's making the most?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I haven't really considered that. But, at some point, I'm sure they're aware of who's making the most money on the team.
We do in the pros. I know in the pros.
Sure,
I'm like that. Well, wait a minute.
The collegiate world is like that. I'm sure the players are very aware of who's getting what on their team. And that's got to be an issue. You know, they all want to be the best and make the most money.
Yep.
And so they're going to be, instead of working together as a team, to me, that may create some, I want to say, like tensions between players, and they may not gel as well on the field.
And here's the thing. They don't say it. I'm not going to say,
right.
I'm going to act around you every time I'm around you. I'm going to act kind of normal, best normal,
sure.
But I'm mad because you're getting more than I'm getting.
Exactly.
See, I think that,
and it may affect play on the field.
And I think even more so on the high school level because they're younger and immature, and they want to be who doesn't want to be the best player on your high school team?
Sure.
And if let's just say we got a team that's really good.
Right.
All of a sudden, we throw money into that. Now, parents are going to try to decide if my kid is better than your kid.
Right, and then you're really going to have some issues.
See, I think we're inviting all of that into the equation.
That doesn't need to be a part of it.
That does not need to be part of it.
It is bad enough we have the transfer portal at the high school level, in my opinion, with no ramifications. They can just switch at will. That's an issue in itself. And you throw NIL in the mix, you talk about a powder keg waiting to go off. That is exactly what it's going to be. Because like you said, they're kids. It's going to be the parents, the guardians, the ones that understand what's going on with NIL more so than the kids that are going to be the ones that
I'm going to want my kid. I'm automatically thinking my kid is better than yours.
Exactly.
And I heard that you're making $25,000 a season. Well, wait a minute.
Right.
I think
little Johnny's better than
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
So we need to have a conversation. And if we don't have a conversation, then you know what I'm doing? I'm looking to see if I can go to another team that's going to pay me more than what I'm getting here.
And then that's also going to play into, especially at the high school level, the socioeconomic factors that play into schools and districts as it is. It's already a problem.
Yep.
And you're just going to add fuel to the fire. I mean, it's scary, and I think it's coming. That's the bad part. Like I see, it's almost like you see a train headed right your way, but
and you're standing there.
You can't move.
Yeah,
because it's all coming, and it's ruining. It's ruining things. It's ruining football, in my opinion.
And
I know Hollis would disagree, but
yes, I'm with you. And again, I want to make sure please message me. If you have a conversation about this, if you have a positive side to it that you want to express, you can reach out. It's on my Facebook page, Carl Lee, or Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Either one, because most people are on the Carl Lee one. So just go to the messenger, send me a message telling me a little bit about what you think, because I'm curious about what parents are thinking. What former athletes are thinking, and then what does the general public think about it?
Right.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Because I think everybody has their own little piece of interest. As much as they're, playing, a kid's got an issue, parents got a thought process, and then the fan has a process, and then the person who's like just hearing about this, they're going to have a side.
Right.
And I'm curious to see what those sides are.
Yeah, I would like to hear the other side of it too as well, because we're kind of in agreement on this. But here's my overall thought about all of this. If the high schools decide to go that route and they handle it even half as bad as the NCAA has handled it, you're going to have a complete mess at that level.
Well, here's my thing. How do you handle it when, let's say, you got schools that are in certain areas that don't have
exactly
access to businesses and such that can donate that money.
Socioeconomic factors there.
And then you got other places that can, there's all kinds of money around. And people are willing to throw money at the school. When
you look at those schools, well, right now it's a perfect example, even though we don't have NIL, but you've got Martinsburg.
Yes.
You've got, Spring Mills. They're all in the northern, like you said, the northern part of the state that has more access to everything, business-wise. All the metro things that go along with being near a big city like D.C. And then you've got teams that are in Clay County or in, the southern part of the state that doesn't have all the access.
And can a high school really bring you a whole lot of advertising?
No, I don't buy.
I don't buy that. I mean, you could put it on the fence. But most people already know,
or in the program.
In the program,
I don't see that.
That really isn't. So it's not even really. It is all about trying to build your sports team, based on players outside of your area. Period.
Right.
You're just trying to bring new players in just so that you can. Grow your program with players outside of your area.
I'm just
take it somewhere else.
No. I mean, I think just to sum it up, I really feel like I just hope I've heard whispers. I don't know if you have, that the legislature's considering this.
Yes.
Like, this is something that could be real in West Virginia.
How do you not? Okay, but Lisa, how do you not look at this and see all the confusion behind it and all of the issues that come with it? Like, how do you just
I don't think they are. I don't want to.
You think they think it's good?
I don't want to sound callous, but I don't think they care. I think they only care about who it's affecting personally. In their own little world, in their own little high school worlds. And so when you don't look at the big picture and you don't consider, like what we were talking about, the schools that don't have the access to the metro areas and the businesses and the money and so forth, when you don't look at the whole big picture, it doesn't sound so horrible because you're just thinking about those schools that already have access to everything. You're not looking at the whole thing. Does that make sense?
It does.
And I don't know how you do that. I mean, especially as if that's something they're considering. I'm not throwing the legislature under the bus, but if that's something they're looking at, they need to look at the big picture.
They have to see. It's just like the transfer period. This was somebody who pushed this through simply for his own benefit, his own child.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying.
All that mattered to him was to get his child an opportunity to go and swim somewhere else.
That's right. And we've come full circle because that's what we've been saying all along. The problem that we're facing with football is it is a team sport that's becoming individualized.
Yes, because of an individualized sport.
Right.
Wants to go somewhere else.
Right.
And you let them, and now all of a sudden everybody's saying, well, hey, wait a minute. If
you did that, why can't we?
If that could happen, we can do that. And I don't think anybody saw it when they were saying, yes, we can go. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to be Hollis.
You're way kinder than me.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they weren't expecting like this would go this crazy.
I don't know how you couldn't expect that.
I don't either. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But as soon as it started, you should have jumped in and started thinking about how do we cap this? How do we do something to slow it down? But you've ruined football programs. Like total what you oversee, you have ruined programs specifically because of this.
Yes, absolutely.
That's just crazy.
It's all. I don't even know how to describe it. I have no words. But I mean, like I said, going back to what we said about Marshall. Think about Marshall. There's no way they'll ever be able to be a Cinderella in that championship brackets in future because every time they get a team that gets close to even sniffing the top 12. they're gonna be destroyed by the bigger schools. They're gonna take those players and run. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And so, like I said, the teams the Georgias, the Alabama, they'll get stronger and stronger from this. And all of us we're just foraging for the scraps that are thrown to us.
And
bowl games,
yes,
that don't matter.
And to Hollis's point, and I will somewhat agree that you can't blame the coach for taking a higher paid job,
right?
And if there's money out there for players, you can't necessarily.
No, I blame the NCAA.
Yeah, you can't keep them from wanting to chase the money because it's there. You put it out there. But
there's no loyalty.
But you're creating no loyalty. You're not creating team. You're not creating anything. But I just hope I'm just the best player. Because if I'm the best player, man, I got a shot to get money.
Well, I just thought of something, try to lighten the mood a little bit. But you know how whenever you guys are introduced in the NFL and they say their name, their position, and what school they went to.
Yes.
Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years? They're going to name like Marshall, Southern Miss, Alabama. I mean, because that's the reality.
That's going to be the reality.
Nobody's going to be anywhere for the whole period of their career.
Because
basically.
everybody's going to be recruiting from what's already there. That's why I'm saying high school athletics.
Yeah.
Is going to be a huge challenge because why are you going to try to get a high school athlete, a high school quarterback, a high school lineman, unless they're literally like really good? You're gonna be able to, if you can find one in the portal and pay him, that's what's going to happen.
I think what's going to happen is your more affluent area schools that have the students that their parents are in more lucrative careers than other areas are going to be the ones that profit from this.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, I know you had some things too, so I want to make sure we get to.
Oh yeah, we'll just go north a little bit here. We go north and south all the time in West Virginia when we talk on the show. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the Frisco Bowl. It kind of ties into what we were talking about with bowl season in general because WU rolls into the Frisco Bowl with an interim coach, right? Some of their players decided, not to take part in the game. There were even some players that before the game I saw on social media were wearing shirts that insinuated that they still supported Neil Brown. So that threw some controversy into the whole mix. But they go and they play Memphis, who was ranked number 25. And, of course, they come out flat first quarter. As expected, and they were down 17-0 before even the second quarter began. They did claw back and fight their way to make it a more interesting game, but they ended up losing, and they end their season at 6-7 at a bowl game. So they had a losing season because they were what we've talked about all along. They were 6-6 rolling into that game. So they ended up 6-7. But we do have Rich Rod coming in, and I think that I know last week we talked a little bit, Carl, about how the fan base feels, and we felt like it was, or at least I thought it was a 50-50 sort of thing. Yeah. But I think once he was introduced, and of course he's got charisma and personality. I don't know if you know much about Rich Rod, but he's sharp, he's witty. And he knows.
And he's a good coach.
He's a good coach. Yes, he's a good coach. And so I think after his presentation as the new HC and also having Pat McAfee in town and former players, I feel like that's kind of shifted a little bit. We've got more of a 75-4, 25 against. You've got some hardcore that until he wins a national championship, they're never going to buy into him. But I feel like he's swinging that momentum in favor of him.
Well, okay. Let's say I give you that. Okay. All right. Now, we go 3 games, and we're 1-2.
Well, that's reality.
Yes.
That could happen.
Because a lot of times in the early part of the season, you have your what we call money games, right?
Sure.
So games that you're making money.
Sure.
And
the smaller
you could
schools come
upset
in.
them, but in most cases, the expectation is you're going to play a good game and get some money, and
everybody goes home happy.
Everybody goes home happy. But you're 1-2 early. Is the fan base is Morgantown's fan base patient enough to not go crazy or be able to say, okay, these games they're just money games,
right?
And let us wait until we get into the conference. Are they really willing to wait that long, or do they know that that's the reality of it?
I think if it were any other coach but Rich Rod, that I would say yes. But I think because of his history, I think because he's so controversial, and because it's so polarizing right now as far as whether you love him or you don't love him. That's a nice way to put it. There are some games that are just non-negotiable. Pitt is one of them.
Right.
Pitt is one of them. If he loses to Pitt, the talk's going to start right out of the gate.
Well, I think that WVU's always had that Pitt, Penn State.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. Everybody needs some variety in life. That's what I love about Chumba Casino. They know how to keep things fresh and exciting. All their games are free to play, like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire. You can claim free daily login bonuses, too. And they release new games every week. So spice things up with ChumbaCasino.com now for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes.
Those kind of rival games that they're, for whatever reason, supposed to win. And in a lot of cases, they weren't really.
Well, Penn State, definitely, we weren't competitive.
Yes.
I mean, that was just, when we beat them, it was a big deal because that didn't happen often.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so I don't understand, why the fan base gets upset when you lose those types of games. I mean, there are some games that you're just not, that
it's kind of like Michigan and Ohio State.
Yes.
I mean, reality is, you could lose. You could be the best coach ever at Ohio State or Michigan, and if you keep losing to the other,
you're in trouble.
You're gone. You're on the hot seat.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Ryan Day? Is that who the Ohio State coach is? I think he was on the hot seat for losing to Michigan this year for a bit. And I think, if he doesn't do well in the
he could be in trouble.
Yeah, he could be in trouble.
Yeah. And see, and I think I understand the reality of, Morgantown fans.
Passionate.
They're passionate. They love it. And every season in the offseason, they're already talking about the next season and the expectations that they have, real or not.
Right.
To them, it's real.
Right.
But if you're the coach, if you're the organization, you may not be looking at that. You're like, okay, we're losing this player who's going to be a critical player. We haven't got a player to replace him, whether that be a quarterback, a left tackle,
transfer portal victim.
Right. There's so much now that is going to make the determination of whether or not you can win. And again, I'm not sure that WVU is going to, no different than Marshall. I don't know if they're going to be able to go into the portal and just be the dominant team.
No.
In the portal. Well, I just don't think that. I think there are other schools that just have way more money to offer than we do.
Right.
And whether that's WVU or Marshall.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, something that I came across about Ren Baker, and that was something that was very high on the list when it came to their interviewing of candidates for head coach there, is that he wanted someone entrenched in the knowledge of what West Virginia football is about. And it's kind of what you're saying, Carl. Well, what it's about is these fans, I think West Virginia is special in a way. Of course, it is special, but I think the WU fans are special in a way that we don't have a pro team here in this state.
Right.
And West Virginia, unlike Marshall, carries the name of the state in all of its apparel, its uniform. It represents the state.
Yep.
I mean, reality, that's people are attracted to that in our state. They spend a lot of money that our state doesn't typically have to go enjoy football games in Morgantown. I mean, you think about it, it's got a big ticket tied to it, a big price ticket. So their expectations are they want a return on what they're investing in that school and in that team. And I think Ren Baker knows that Rich Rod understands that because he's already lived it, done it.
Yes.
And he can handle the adversity of it a little better than somebody that doesn't have ties from here.
I think that's a really, really, really good point and very valid. I shouldn't say everybody, but most football fans in West Virginia, you either have your pro team is usually Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Could be Cleveland. It could be anybody, right? But usually it's somebody relatively close.
Yeah.
Okay? At least as if you're older, as you get older.
Right.
All right. And so our first piece of it is all about the love of college football. And now the split, the huge divide into that is Marshall and WVU.
Right.
I don't know if there's a lot of people who are like you who are supporting Marshall.
It's hard.
And excited about WVU. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
there's not a lot of people because they're all in.
You have to have thick skin. And I have it.
You know, and because I think you're either all in to WVU and all in
You're right.
to Marshall.
Sure.
And unfortunately, we're in a situation here now, today, in the conversations that we've had today, is we've got issues at both of them. And not because it has nothing to do really with even on the field.
No.
It's off the field.
Right.
And to me, that's heartbreaking.
It is.
Because
really
it should
is.
not be that way.
No. And the reality is, as much as they want to say we're better than you or you're better, the whole little banter that goes back and forth, the reality is we are in the same boat.
Exactly.
Money-wise, NIL-wise, and transfer portal-wise. So
we're losing. We just don't have the kids to lose.
No.
We don't have the money to bring kids in to drive them back into West Virginia for this. We can't win with just high school kids and thinking that we're gonna.
We don't have that.
We're gonna rebuild the program through high school. No one's gonna do that.
No,
that's gone. Those days are gone.
Over. Right. The best we can hope for is what's happened. We have West Virginia ties to the coaching positions at Marshall and WVU.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the first step in at least trying to secure teams, because if you have a team or have a coach come in that aspires to do bigger and better things, they're going to take the team with them. Obviously, if they experience success and they're able to make that jump, they're going to take the team with them, and it's going to happen every time.
I'll say this: when to that point, and specifically talking about a coach, I can remember Sonny Randall coming into Marshall, and I decided to go because he had played in the pros, and that's what I wanted. So I went there.
Right.
And what I really realized about him was just how hard and how deep that he is into football, like how drastic he was about trying to build a team that wins. And then I had Bob Pruitt as a DB coach, who's a fun-loving kind of guy. And the staff was full of great coaches, but we didn't win. But what I remember was the work ethic that they made sure that you had.
Yes.
And if you didn't have it, you weren't going to make it. See, I don't know now.
It's all about talent.
Yeah, well, and that too. And I've got to pat you on the back more so now that I can yell and scream. Because I can remember Sonny Randall grabbing my face mask and cussing me out.
These kids would not stand for that.
And I can go make money somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to tolerate that.
They have to be handled with kid gloves now. Right.
And I really don't know. And I'll kind of close on this and let you finish out. I don't know if the coaching, the coaching style, the buddy up coaching style today, I just don't think that works. I still believe in the yelling, and I'm not a yelling coach. I don't yell, I don't curse, I don't do any of that.
There's a difference between yelling and critiquing. I think there's just outright yelling and cussing a player for, during a football game is one thing. But during practice, when you're trying to get them better and point out their mistakes, Sometimes they listen a little better when you have a different tone to your voice.
To me, I learned to listen no matter whether it was practice or game because that's how it was.
Right.
I think that is part of some, and I know there's a ton of people are going to be like, no, he's so wrong on that. I just think
I think you're right.
I just think that you got to have someone who's going to be as passionate as you are about what you want.
Light that fire.
They're going to light that fire. They're going to let you know that you're not doing what you need to do to get what you want.
Right.
And if you don't have that, man, I think you got a problem.
Preach.
Oh. All right. Let's talk. It's presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. You can visit Frank Walker at frankwalkerlaw.com. All right, Lisa, great show.
And as always,
what'll happen is we'll try to figure out what happens between now and next week.
We'll try, right? Yeah. It's all we can do.
And we got Christmas coming up too, so we'll figure out when we'll record a show.
Okay.
And so I don't think we'll miss it next week. So you can keep looking for us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here, and thank you.
Thanks.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. frankwalkerlaw.com. Comment on episodes, ask Carl and Hollis questions, or suggest topics at our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation.
If you fall, dust it off and get back up on your feet. Anything could be a win, yup, even defeat. They say sugar bad for you, why is victory sweet? Couldn't play with big kids, I had to sit in the street and watch from a distance, but over time I grew. If I put in the work, in no time I'm due. Everything that I worked and prayed, I'm okay. If you ask me, how did I do it, I'm gon' say, you gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine, never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. 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 You gotta work.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.